whilst I am a debunker, I am a paranormal investigator at heart. I only want to remove the false from a claim. I want the truth, and if I've got to tear people apart to get to it, I'll do it. But I believe in the paranormal. I want the paranormal to be real, and I want to prove it for me. So, yeah, it's not about that's fake. Everything's fake. That's not what I do. Disproving the normal, you can reveal the abnormal. So you look at everything, absolutely everything. You've got to take into account every variable, every variation. And I don't believe you can do it in one visit, which is why I'll never say somewhere is or isn't haunted.
Yeah.
I believe there's a few places I've been to where there is something going on. I just don't know what that something is.
It was almost, I don't know what it was. It was a flying saucer or what it was. It wasn't an airplane. It was not an airplane. It was down awfully low.
You're listening to Pursuit of the Paranormal podcast with your hosts, Ash Ellis and Greg Tomlinson.
Good evening, Greg. How are you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm very well.
So, like the last one, we're doing the intro after the episode, which I think works a bit better, so we can tell people what to expect. And we actually had a debunker on. So this episode is us chatting with Beardo. Beardo Gets Scared. So a lot of people, particularly in the UK, will have watched his stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's got something like 60,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he does it full time. That's his job. And we had a really interesting conversation about the paranormal and his own experiences growing up and how he got to where he is today.
Yeah, it's good sort of going back into sort of his life and sort of the man behind Beardo, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a good chat.
So, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really hope everybody else does. Let's just get straight into it, I suppose.
Yeah, enjoy.
So, Beardo, welcome along. Thanks for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's nice to be here. Nice to be invited on.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm glad we've got to talk to you because we go out as paranormal investigators. We do UFO investigations as well, particularly Ash. Ash has got the largest UK UFO current day sighting database.
All right.
Is that right, Ash?
That's the one.
And so we flick between UFOs and the paranormal in what we do, and cryptids and everything weird. But we've never had somebody on who's a debunker. So reached out. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no worries.
But before we get into the debunking side, it's a good opportunity because I've watched your stuff for years. I know my partner is one of the twins, and we sit and watch your stuff all the time. We even watch the paranormal investigations you do, like at Priest Cottage when you went there. So it's a good opportunity for us to sort of go back a bit, and understand where the name Beardo come from. I imagine it's quite
because I'm lazy.
and really, what got you to sort of where you are today, doing YouTube and having tens of thousands of subscribers. So how did you get here, basically?
I suppose if I have to start right at the very beginning, it's because I believe that I saw a ghost when I was a child.
Okay.
My parents both, I'm an 80s kid, and 80s kids, both your parents worked and your grandparents kind of took over the parental role Monday to Friday because my mum worked nights, my dad worked days, and dad was a carpenter. My mum did whatever she could. Weekends, now and again, I'd be in my grandparents as well, and my grandparents lived near the school and they drove. I had my own bedroom there because my uncle was in the forces, so I had his room when he was sort of posted out wherever he was. I was in bed. I can remember it. I can remember I was watching Return of the Jedi because back when I was a kid, it was my favorite Star Wars film. As an adult, it's always Empire. And I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't getting ready for sleep or anything. I remember just having jam and toast, and I looked to my right, and there's just a guy stood there. And
Wow.
I was very young, I'm 4 to 6 years of age, and it's a very distinct early memory. And I remember screaming, crying, and then my grandfather coming in. And my grandfather, he swore a lot. He's an ex sailor or ex navy. My grandfather comes in, sort of in his pants, all tattooed up. Len, bloody hell, he's lost the plot. He have. I'm like, well, there's a man. There's a man. And it wasn't like he turned the light on and he disappeared. It was like 1 minute he's there, and I looked directly into him, and he was looking at me, and then he was gone. It was sort of as I've let out this scream, he's gone. Um, my grandmother asked who I saw, and I remember saying he was wearing a nice suit, and that's a green nice suit, and that's the only way I could describe him. So for years after, my grandparents were like, "Oh no, you had a dream," and I'm like, "No, no, I was watching The Empire Strikes Back. I was wide awake." But for years and years and years, your family chip away because I was scared of everything when I was a kid. My uncle let me watch A Nightmare on Elm Street when I was a kid, and it traumatized me. Dreams about Freddy and all sorts. Um, but years later, my grandparents had like a wedding anniversary, and all the family got together, and then the core family went back to my grandparents' house. We were a very close knit family. There was my three aunties, my mum, and my uncle. All of the kids, we were all in the house. And then my uncle starts telling a story about when he saw a man in his bedroom. And then he describes the exact same experience that I had. Now, had I listened to his story at some point in my childhood and then remembered it as my own, but other people remember me telling them that I had seen this guy stood in the bedroom. And then my grandmother says, "Right, I'll come back." She comes in, she's got this big dusty old photo album, opens it up, and she said, "Is that him?" And the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "That's your great great grandfather." Now, at this point, my great grandmother was still alive. But my great grandfather, he had either died just before my nan was born or just after she was born. And it was lung conditions due to something with the Second World War. And that's what I saw. And my uncle was like, "That's exactly what I saw." The reason my grandmother never showed us was A, I was a very young, sensitive child. B, it was the only photograph that she had of her dad. So she never brought it out for anyone for love nor money in case, younger kids spilling drinks or somebody grabbed it or, babies in the family and stuff. And that's where it started for me. And then it was, you'd see TV shows about the paranormal and the thing with Jonathan Frakes. I loved Star Trek Next Generation. So anything with Commander Riker in it, I'd watch it. And he did The Strange But True, and sort of it involved into even things like UFOs and I couldn't, unexplained mysteries. I'd watch them and it would be like this, DB Cooper, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's boring to me." As soon as there was a UFO or a cryptid or a ghost, I'm in, and I fully believed in all of it when I was a kid, up until my teens.
Okay. And what happened in your teens to make you?
Um,
Because you said you were fully into it until your teens.
yeah, I did. I did a Ouija board. Oh, there was a group of us. We did a Ouija board, and we all had a very bad experience with it. The quick side of it is we were all between 15 and 17. My parents had gone away, had a house party after being told not to. We were all drinking. A few of us were smoking weed and stuff, doing a Ouija board. It starts going like crazy, and we're all blaming each other for pushing it. And then the glass, it was that amateur. It was a Nutella glass rinsed out that my dad used as a whiskey tumbler on the back of a Monopoly board. We just drew on it with a marker pen. And it sounded like somebody flicked the glass, but it kicked up the right way, shot across the room, and just showered one of the boys in glass. And it was sort of him that seemed to be targeted by what was being said. And he was like, "You boys wouldn't have known about my dad. None of us knew that he had a dad. It's one of those things you didn't ask." Um, Scared the crap out of us. And then for about a year, 2 years, I thought it negatively impacted me, and I may have had like this dark entity attached to me because I'd a run of bad luck. But it wasn't. It's just me being a dickhead teenager doing stupid things. Um, and then I got a bit older, and I wouldn't touch Ouija boards. Didn't want anything to do with them. And then every time I was seeing people doing them, I'm like, "You're pushing it. You're pushing it." And then so I was trying to do them on my own, and nothing ever happened. And I'm like, And I was still nervous of them, but I'm like, if I'm scared, surely something should be happening. And then I kept going out, oh, this is a haunted house. It wasn't. It was just an abandoned house in villages and whatever. We'd go in them not pretending, trying to catch ghosts, but as sort of 16, 17, 18 year olds. And then I got a bit old for that. And it just seemed to just fizzle out. And then Most Haunted landed. And I was hook, line, sinker. There were elements of it, like Derek's stuff. I've never, despite how much I believed, I never ever believed in psychic mediums. It always just seemed like a con to me. But then I remember watching James Randi busting Uri Geller and things like that. So that was always in the back of my mind. And the first couple of years, Kieran O'Keefe of Most Haunted, to me, was the villain. He's just this boring guy. They're saying that none of it's real. And then I started to go out again. I used to go down to Neath Abbey. Me and the boys, we'd have like a Most Haunted watch party, not just for the lives, for an episode. All pile into two cars down to Neath Abbey, calling out, where's the knocks? Where's the bangs? Why is nothing getting thrown? Why is it so quiet? Right, let's try this place that's supposed to be haunted, like Margam. And then we're like, nothing's happening. Nothing at all is happening. It's not real. And then Kieran sort of, instead of being the villain of the piece, then became sort of the guy that I modelled myself after, just a bit more sweary and ranty.
So kind of going back to that original kind of Ouija board experience, how do you look back on that sort of being older and wiser and obviously what you do now? So say, for example, someone's showing you that video of that happening.
Yeah.
How would you kind of, what's your kind of thoughts on that looking back now?
I wish there was video evidence of it because it sounds so fantastical that I don't trust my own memory of it. And then when I told that story on my channel, one of the guys that was there was watching and I didn't realize. And then he messaged me and he was like, why are you lying about and the date? So what do you mean? He said, you said it was on Halloween and it wasn't. It was on Valentine's Day. It's like, what are you on about? And then that was the other one. He said, we weren't watching Friday the 13th. We were watching, it's gone. I thought we were watching Friday the 13th and he said we were watching the original Pet Cemetery before it happened. I was like, I don't know. And then we got hold of three or four. There were 8 of us around the table, and we've spoken to 3 or 4 of us. We all remember different people being there. We all remember different movies. There's bits that we all sort of can put together and like, right, well, that definitely happened because we all remember that. But false memory is such a bizarre thing and what it can do because I assumed that I'd remembered it beat by beat exactly how it happened. And I don't. And even as skeptical as I am these days, I mean, I'm still a skeptical believer. I don't know what caused that. To me, that can't happen. And that's the one thing we did all agree on. That glass sounded like somebody flicked it. It took off and then it burst midair. We all agreed on that. Looking back, when people are saying like the poltergeist activity around teenagers and stuff, could it actually be something to do with teenagers and hormones? Well, there's a lot of anger in that room, and one of the guys was really upset because the Ouija board was talking about his passed away father that we, as far as I knew, none of us knew anything about. I certainly didn't. So I'm wondering if, like, one of a, it sounds almost as ridiculous that we telekinetically made a glass explode as a demon jumped on the board with us, So I'd love to see something. I wish there was sort of, I mean, back then, video cameras, very expensive, very cumbersome, and not, on tape. So I don't know. There's part of me thinks that what we experienced, something creepy about it, but for the most part, it was just drunk, stoned teenagers being idiots.
It's funny you should talk about the telekinesis. I've done a couple of talks where I talk about poltergeist activity being a result of like the manifestation of a like a troubled mind.
Yeah.
So I do believe that there is something to that. I mean, a lot of the cases revolve around that. So
yeah,
would you do a Ouija board now?
I've done them. I've done them at the Ancient Ram Inn. I've done them at 30 East Drive. A couple of abandoned places. I don't always include them in my video because it doesn't move.
Yeah.
And it's also led me to questioning the idiomotor effect, because I'm like, well, where's the idiomotor effect when me and people I trust are doing it? Surely, if the idiomotor effect is pushing this 100% of the time, we should be getting movement, whether we believe it or not. And we're
Yeah.
not. So even as skeptics, because the idiomotor effect is described as, minute movements, but your brain is telling you what the next letter is.
Mm.
Well, where's our minute movement? So because if you tell somebody not to do something, like if I say to you, don't think of a red polar bear, well, you're either going to think of it or try to think not to think about it, but think about it because you're not thinking about it.
Mm.
So I don't know. I don't know. It's really weird and bizarre. And for a long time, I was really nervous of them. I wouldn't be around them. I wouldn't have Ouija board. It's like people have Ouija board backpacks and T-shirts. I wouldn't have those near me. I was terrified of them. But now I've got three in this room. I mean, my wife wouldn't let me have one in the house, but now there's three in here. She's not happy about it, but
Yeah.
So I was going to say, so getting on from there to kind of your channel and the kind of debunking side of things.
yeah,
Um, what sort of made you go down that sort of lane? So obviously on your videos you are quite outspoken. You don't pull
yeah.
any punches. Which probably led to sort of kind of your kind of how well known you are. It's what sort of made you go down the channel of as well doing the paranormal investigation, but also kind of this calling out these teams that are doing these well a lot of fake or possibly fake
Yeah.
videos.
Um, the reason I get as aggravated as I do is because of what Most Haunted did to the paranormal and what the fakers do to the paranormal. Because every time I say that I saw a ghost when I was a child, the first thing people do is, well, like this, and they'll show you Most Haunted or Laney and Ben or Really Haunted or whoever, because that's what's popular. And it's so over the top, dramatic, and stupid that it makes my experiences look stupid to other people. And that wasn't a stupid experience to me. It was real and it scared the shit out of me and it impacted my life to a point where I've spent since 2003 lurking around abbeys, derelict buildings, and, in search of more proof, because I don't trust my young mind. I trust my mind more now. But every time they fake something, or every time, Carl getting pulled up the stairs in 30 East Drive, that and obviously the lady flicking coins off the banister and stuff, that has made 90% of people say that there is nothing at 30 East Drive. It made me say there was nothing at 30 East Drive. I've been there 7 times, but 9 nights in total. And I've had two experiences there that I've never had anywhere else. So I'm like, there may be something to 30 East Drive. And it's not the knocks on the walls, and it's not a violent poltergeist, but there's something just strange on occasion in that house. And people I trust have had strange occurrences in that house. Where people phone me from the house, like, "Can you debunk this?" I'm like, "Well, no, I don't know what it is." But every time somebody puts a fake video out from 30 East Drive, that's what people remember. People
Yeah.
are not remembering people's experiences because they're more mundane than the guys launching stuff about or putting knives in sofas. And it's ruined, to me, Most Haunted ruined the TV paranormal for me. I loved Taps when I was younger. Obviously, I've become really good friends with Jason Halls, and people are like, "Oh, but they used K2 meters," and I'm like, back then, yeah, we didn't know any different. Nobody did. My channel when I first started, I was using K2 meters until I learned different. It's all about the learning process. Weed out what's not real and then latch on to something new. My biggest gripe with the paranormal right now is there's no new ideas, there's no new experiments. It's the same thing. And the definition of madness is to keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. I'm a little different because I go into haunted locations and I investigate them the same as YouTubers do because that's how they get their experiences. So I win either way. If I get an experience, fantastic. I've had an experience and it sort of bolsters this thing to me that the paranormal is real. And if I can debunk everything or catch fakery or prove fakery, well, I win anyway because I'm a debunker as well as an investigator. But every investigator should be a debunker.
Yeah.
Take the falseness out of a claim and then look at what's left over.
We went to 30 Drive and we had some mad stuff happen there. I've been couple of times now. That was Ash's first time. It is a strange place.
Mm.
It is a strange place. And I don't know whether that's because of the hype around it. I say hype because it's had the movie made and all that kind of stuff. So people have this impression of what it's like, and it is a weird vibe in there, regardless of what you
Yeah.
like.
Yeah,
And
it's the reputation is kind of it's on a knife edge because some people go there and they're like, oh, it's a con because nothing happened, and I'm like, well, doesn't that lead more credibility? Because if it happened every day, then the paranormal wouldn't be the paranormal; it'd be the very normal because you can pay and experience it. Same
very
as
true.
buildings with CCTV cameras and stuff, and they capture the odd thing here and there, and it's like, well, what about the rest of the time? Well, it's not that normal. Otherwise, we'd know about it, we'd understand it, and we could quantify it. Scientists would put more time, effort, money, and resources into it, and they don't. Well, I was quite surprised how many universities are actually still putting a lot of money into the paranormal and work into the paranormal.
Yeah, we've had somebody on, and she was struggling to be taken seriously in the paranormal because she was a woman, and she decided she would go to university. She studied parapsychology, and she got a doctorate, and part of her thesis was EVPs,
Yeah,
and that to her gave her the credibility. But I do think well, you can actually study parapsychology as part of a psychology degree,
yeah,
which is super cool. My daughter's actually in her third year of psychology, and I'm like,
really.
why didn't you do parapsychology? And I've got a younger daughter. She's just about to go to university in September to do psychology as well, and I'm like, please get into the paranormal, please.
I mean, Do you think with like Uncanny, obviously Uncanny's insanely popular. It's like the most recent thing with any sort of buzz around it in the
Mm.
paranormal. With it being more accepted by mainstream audiences and being less insulting to everyone's intelligence, because also you've got Team Skeptic, Team Believer. Danny is like us in the situation, just hearing the story and asking these two experts. Do you wonder if it could make or influence more people doing parapsychology because they're like, I could make a TV show or an
Yeah.
Amazon Prime or a Netflix documentary or something because it seems to be gaining traction and it's the less ridiculous stuff that's gaining traction.
Yeah, I think it could do. Absolutely. I think people see when it starts to be taken a bit more seriously, which I think over the years it's becoming normal to talk about the paranormal.
Yeah,
You can go, I'll say to people at work, what we do the podcast and we go out and they go, "Oh, I could never do that." I said, okay, do you believe in it? They go, no, not really. They go, but I did have this experience when I was younger, or my mum or my auntie or my uncle, they've had this
yeah.
weird experience. And so like, oh, okay. And I've got a guy at work and he's like, I don't believe in it. I want solid proof from you, Greg.
Mm.
Because we go out all the time, me and Ash and the girls, and we're just like, I show him stuff. He goes, no, not good enough. We've had some really good evidence. Look, we believe good evidence
Yeah,
for stuff happening. We've had weird stuff happening all the time, all at different locations, different nights. Sometimes we've not had stuff, which, like you said, that sort of, that's good that stuff doesn't happen.
yeah,
But he's like, no, don't believe it. But he's actually had an experience himself that he can't explain. I'm like, well, you don't believe in it, but you've just told me you've had this weird experience that you can't explain. I said, I don't know how I can ever get you to
yeah.
believe if you don't even believe the experience
Yeah,
you had.
some people will never believe and they'll put it down to their own mind playing tricks on them, or
Mm,
biology or mold or whatever, and they probably more right than we will ever
mm,
be.
yeah.
I just happen to believe that there is something else to it all. I don't like the idea that we're here for however long our lifespan is, and then that's just it. It's not even like there's darkness after. There is nothing. You cease to exist. What a horrible thought. And it's like, oh, you're living in the cloud cuckoo land. And yeah, I'd rather live with my head a little bit in cuckoo land and think there may be something after.
Yeah. What do you think happens then? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know if we level up or we go into a different dimension or we just cease. I don't like to think that my head says we just cease to exist, but my heart says there's got to be more experiences I've had, and it's a more comfortable feeling to me. Um, but like when we get further into quantum physics and dimensions and things, I think that's where science may say, actually, all of these experiences, not all of them, but a lot of these experiences that people have thought they had that were written off could have an element of realness to them because of some displacement of a dimension or some tear in the fabric of something that we don't yet know a name for it because it hasn't been discovered. Science is always discovering new things, and maybe one day, hopefully in our lifetime, scientists will discover something where it proves my experiences as me not being a crazy kid and an even crazier adult, I guess.
You had any experiences, so kind of as an adult that's come close to the one you had when you were a child?
not seeing not seeing a full bodied apparition, no. That's the holy grail for me, is to see a full bodied apparition as an adult. I don't care if I capture it on camera, and I don't care if anyone believes me, as long as I know for me that it's happened twice. um but I thought I saw something at 30 East Drive, but it wasn't quite corner of the eye. I was almost looking direct. It sort of crossed into my direct vision, and I didn't assume paranormal. I thought Carol was in the house, the cleaner from next door, but she wasn't. I'm like, that was a bit weird, and I stupidly completely dismissed it due to high EMF under the kitchen strip light, because I'd always been told that high EMF can cause hallucinations, and it can't. There's no proof of that. The same night, Dean saw something cross at the top of the stairs, but his was more of a light anomaly that he saw with his eyes than like an orb, because orbs, no, I don't believe in orbs. Um, but I was at a care home with a channel called Exploring the Entity. We had permission to go there. Basically, a door was left open for us by somebody that was looking after the place, and we do the investigation. They had stuff there all the time. Every time they went, pretty much they were capturing stuff, and I'm like, there's something up with that. Either it's really active or my friends have been lying to me, and I don't want to think that of my friends. So I went with them. And I walked in and they were like, "Isn't it creepy?" I was like, "No, looks really nice. This could be, it's being salvaged, it's being rescued. It'd be a fantastic wedding venue with that nice sprawling stake." So we're walking around and I'm like, I'm not creeped out by it. There's still power there to a degree, not everywhere, but there's power. There's certain areas we weren't allowed in. We go up the stairs. I'm like, right, can you knock or can you do something? And there's a door in front of me, and I've just checked this room. I've gone in there. It's a little tiny bathroom. The toilet's clogged. No windows open. I've opened it and gone, oh, closed the door because it reeks in there. And as I'm walking away, I'm called out, and it sounded like somebody just banged on the door behind me. And I'm like, right, did I not shut it? So I spent in the video, I just walk over there and go, no, it's not moving. But in real time, I was an hour. Like, did I leave it on the latch there that much? And then it popped open instead of closing. I'm like, I can't recreate that. That on its own was nothing. I didn't care about that, but it was still interesting. And then we go downstairs and they were like, why are you so quiet tonight when we've got a friend here? And my brain is going, it's quiet because I'm here. That it happens all the time. And then Lucy says, oh, is it time for bed? Are we keeping you up? And I hear this really loud shh right in my ear. And it's the only time I've ever like proper jumped on investigation, looked and been like, and I didn't know what to do. I sort of froze, but turned my head. And Carl says, what did you hear then? I said, I swear I have just heard someone tell me to shush. And he went, I heard it as well. And then Lucy said, I heard words. Nathan says, I heard words. I was like, I just heard a shh, but it was loud. Well, but I don't think my camera's going to capture it because there's a door there where my head is, but I've got a camera resting on a banister looking up the stairs. So there's a wall in front of my directional microphone. So I go into this room and I'm like, there's got to be an air freshener, an electronic air freshener on the timer, and it's psst, and that's what it couldn't find air freshener. And I'm like, there's somebody here messing with me then. All the doors are locked. I'm like, that was really weird. When we played the footage back, my camera didn't capture it. Carl's did, Lucy's did. Nathan didn't because he was looking up the stairs, and they had a Zoom H2 microphone on a chair. And what it sounds like it says is "go to sleep," and it was that sleep bit that I thought somebody shushed me, and it made me like, whoa, I really didn't like it. They went upstairs and they're like, "Can you knock?" And then we were getting knocks back, and I've never ever experienced that anywhere else. And I was like, "That's got to be an echo." So I'm walking around because the building's basically a big square building, but the middle of it is blocked off. And I've stood further down the corridor, and these knocks are still coming. And I'm like, "It's an echo from you guys. It's coming from this room." And I go in a room, right, guys, knock now. Nothing. Oh, that's weird. And then nobody knocks. And then it sounds like somebody knocked the mirror in the room that I was in. And I was like, now I'm not saying it was a ghost, but I've not experienced that before. And I was like, that was really, really bizarre. And then it went flat, really quiet. And the end of the night, Carl was like, "So, is this place haunted?" I said, "I don't know. It's the only place I've said I don't know, apart from East Drive. I'm not going to say it is, but I'm certainly not going to say that it isn't because there's certainly something here. We need to come back." And it's quite a drive for me. And as it was, we lost access to there because some urbexers had found it. And even though they didn't damage the place, they put it back, everything as it was. But the staff were like, "Right, we can't leave a door open because people have got in." So massive shame that we couldn't go back and investigate it. But the building has been saved. This beautiful building is now being transformed into a hotel instead of a care home. So at least we're not just losing a building of, an old, beautiful building.
So, kind of sort of going to debunking a little bit, I wanted to ask because the word debunk and debunker can stir up emotions in people, let's say.
Yeah,
And you've had some quite public spats
yeah.
with different people, especially in the past couple of weeks. I've seen some of the posts you put on, some of them the disgusting comments that one particular person was making. How does that kind of affect you doing this stuff? Like, how does I mean, obviously, you can have your sort of public sort of facing, obviously, response to it, but how does that kind of affect you when you're doing this work and getting these comments and threats and stuff from people?
I'm an ex-doorman and an ex-bailiff, so I'm kind of, I've dealt with all of it before, but normally that far away from my face.
Hmm.
So I think because it's not to my face, I deal with it worse. Because not so much I deal with it worse, like I go off afterwards and I'm like, "Oh, my feelings." It's more I deal with it worse, like I don't really de-escalate like I would because somebody may punch me in the face while I'm stood there. I'm just like, "I just some guy on the internet. You'll have it back both barrels." And a lot of people seem to think that I wouldn't be the way I am in real life. And my wife will tell anyone he's worse. Like I'm the type of guy. If somebody spits, if I'm walking on the street, somebody spits next to me, I can't help it. I'm just like, "You dirty! What the fuck are you doing? It's disgusting." And she's like, "Come on." I'm like, "Nah. Why do that? There's a bin there or a tissue or something." I've always just been, as a child, I was very shy. I was bullied horrendously in school. And then I got to my teenage years, and college was really different for me. I became very popular in college. And then I was always the smallest bailiff, the smallest doorman. I'm 6 foot, but I was always really slim. I mean, obviously I'm not anymore, but I sort of made up for being a smaller doorman and a smaller bailiff with being overly confident and really gobby. And I do have an ability to talk my way out of a lot of situations, even if I've got to back down and be like, "Yeah, do you know what? Sorry, I could have the recent stuff with those disgusting comments. I could have made that so much worse." And when I was apologized by one of them, I believe genuinely, I could have just said, "Nah, forget that, your channel." And I could have kept going at them. But I'm like, "Nah, if he's going to be a man and apologize to me, it's only fair that I put out there that he's apologized to me, apologized on behalf of the guy that made those comments." Some people will see that as me pandering. I think it's me just being a human being. If somebody's going to take the time to private message me over it, then I've got a bit of time for them.
Yeah, I think the ability to admit you're wrong or apologize to someone, I think that in itself can be very challenging for people
Oh
to
yeah,
do. And it's
especially
easy,
publicly.
yeah, publicly and across social media
Yeah,
where um, it's there. It's everyone's seeing it. It's in black and white. And if you've written it, you've written it.
yeah,
Or if you've apologized privately, yeah, that's that to me as well. I would be in a similar position. I would accept their apology or go to some way of saying, well, that's respectful, regardless of what's happened. That's respectful to me, and that like you say, you could just carry on doing stuff.
yeah. Yeah, the
And
fact that he
mm,
inboxed me privately,
yeah,
rather than just a public apology for audiences, he came to me first.
yeah,
That meant a bit more to me. It was all right. He hasn't done this for his fan base. He hasn't done this. Maybe he did. I don't know. But I'll take a chance on that. He just genuinely didn't know what that guy was doing and felt really bad about it. And he's told me I can make whatever videos I want on his channel and ridicule him and ridicule the history they go wrong and stuff. And I'm like, it's no fun then.
yeah.
It's a mad one because I'm mainly UFO kind of person. Greg mentioned the sort of website in the group that I've grown over the past 6 or 7 years, and we invest. So we have the database and we investigate UFO sightings
Yeah,
kind of across the UK. And my organization name is UFO Identified. We get these sighting reports and we go investigate them. We speak to the witness. We'll go to location. We will 99% of the time explain that as balloons, ISS, whatever it is,
Swamp
and
gas.
swamp gas, Venus, all these things. And I've even from the witnesses themselves, when I sort of we do the case reports, we do it all quite formally with case reports and write up some reports and everything, and give that back to the witness. And stuff that I've been called just from because it's their sighting, it's their story they told to people, and I'm basically saying it's nothing unusual. It was this, it was that.
yeah,
And they always explain the reasons why. And you get some people that are like, yeah, cool, they just wanted an answer, and we give them the answer. You get the people that just won't accept that it's not an alien spaceship that's come to
yeah,
take them or whatever. And I've been called debunker, government shill,
We've been called
so
we've been called
all
government chills, haven't we,
sorts
many times? Yeah.
also just for telling the truth. Like, say 99% of the sightings we get, so we get hundreds reported every year, we can explain. And we put all the reports on the website, and then we get the few. I think there's 3 or 4 over the past 6 years that I cannot explain.
yeah,
And they're the ones that, obviously, the ones we want, because you sort of had to go
yeah,
through the chaff to get to the wheat. So we sort of part and parcel of it, like what you do, where you got to go through the crap, you got to go through the shit to get to the goal. To think I've
yeah,
actually got something here, and the thing that again has credibility because if every report on our website was UFO can't explain, can't explain, can't explain, then it's like are you actually looking into it properly? Or whereas half of most of our reports are yeah this was this or whatever, but you get the people where you get the people that are always going to believe no matter what. And you get the people that are always going to not believe no matter
yeah,
what. We just like you said, kind of at the top of the show where it's the ones that are clearly fake or whatever that get these millions of views and these popular TikTok accounts and social media accounts where it's all fake stuff. And it's so I find it really annoying because like I've always
yeah,
said from the start, like I'm happy to have 10 people visit our website or subscribe to our channel or our TikTok because it's real. I'd rather have 10 people liking our real stuff than having a million people that following
just
us
yeah,
because we're putting fake stuff out. And it's kind of it can be a hard line because is it people, the millions of people watching it because it's entertainment and they see it as entertainment, or are they actually believing it? Where do you think that kind of line is with these channels, I guess?
I'm probably the wrong one to ask because even though I'm a debunker, I mean, I never called myself a debunker. That's been bestowed upon me by the community. My original idea was just to do reaction videos to scary videos. And basically, I was going to be a really cheap carbon copy of Casper Site. My daughter loves Casper Site. I've spoken to Ben over the years. I was initially very cruel to him, and he's been very forgiving of it. And we've had a few very pleasant conversations over the years. Um, And that's where I was going. But it was like, I'm watching these top 5 videos, and I think my first two, I was like, oh, that's creepy. That's cool. I don't know about that. And then he was like, bullshit, bullshit. Well, how was people falling for that? And then I was like, I'm going to go start looking at channels that I used to watch and that I used to enjoy. And I was like, oh, why was I believing this stuff? But then I also went back to channels that I tried to watch and was like, these are boring. Nothing's happening. Channels like the Ouija Brothers. And then obviously I started watching them again 3 or 4 years ago. And I pretty much watched their entire back catalogue. And I'm like, in 6 years, they've had three things where that could be paranormal, that could be weird, and that's it. And I'm like, that's the real guy. That's the experience that I have when I'm investigating or been investigating. Very rare, very few and far in between. But we all do B-roll on our investigations. We all use music in the intros. We all try to tell the dramatic story, and then we all blow our load early. We've got this video with all these creepy cinematics and bars at the top and bottom of the screen, and we've darkened the corners and we've color graded. But then as soon as you go into night vision, we just stood around like that, weren't there? Anyone? No? Knock? And it's sort of there's that entertainment element to all of it. Otherwise, I wouldn't do YouTube. Even if I was writing an article, which I'm not a writer, I've tried and I'm terrible at it. I'm far better suited to using my voice and my personality and joking. I mean, most people, I make a joke and people are offended, and I'm like, do you not watch comedians? Because I'm tame. But yeah, there's an element of entertainment for anything that's put online that's not a thesis or a paper or something that's been accredited or looked at by professionals. So to a degree, it's all entertainment. I guess I specialize in the entertainment side of the paranormal. I'm not a parapsychologist. I've never been to university for anything. I went to college, but I did music. I did performing arts. So the only thing from my real life that comes into play with debunking is I was a CCTV operator for years, so I know a fair bit about CCTV cameras and CCTV footage, which is how I started debunking. Was that's not a ghost, that's a video bleed from an old tape, or look, you can see the scan lines there and things like that, because these are things I experienced in the real world that I can take forward. But it's all entertainment, whether it's a podcast, YouTube, or a radio show or something. Uncanny, it's entertainment. There's a scientific element to it. We've got the parapsychologist on there that's just like, none of it's real, but it's all entertainment. I don't see the problem with entertainment as long as it's labeled as such. If you're going out and you're faking your ghost hunts, have at it, but let people know what you're doing. Because Tim Morozov in Russia, he does fake things where he shoots demons with a assault shotgun and stuff. He's got witches bursting out of wardrobes. It's incredible. The trickery that he does is so well made. It's like a 30 to 40-minute horror movie every week. Really well made. But his disclaimer at the beginning in Russian says, this is for entertainment. I've written this. None of it's based on any real life events. Well, I can enjoy that, and I can enjoy it and try to work out how the hell he's doing it, because he's really clever with it. But then when you watch somebody go somewhere like East Drive and make up stuff, or worse, the ITC channels that are like, oh, I'm talking to the dead, and you're not. You're just capitalizing on the income of a dead celebrity trending on Google. You're just disgusting, It's wrong, but it's all entertainment. And I make it my own end of it entertainment by... sometimes I record my video. I'll put a 20-minute video out. It's probably been an hour, and I've had to chop out 75% of the stuff I've said, because I get so aggravated by some of them. Some of it gets in, but when it comes to ITC, all the guys that just sit in their houses pretending the house is haunted, making an absolute killing, it pisses me off. And I'm like, it's lazy, generic bullshit. And everybody's having a go at me or calling my friends boring because this guy is making it look like the paranormal can just happen in your house by sitting there watching TV. Granted, that's how most people have their experiences. They're just doing something ordinary, but not every night. I mean, how can he put out 4 or 5 videos a week and every one of them's got paranormal activity? There'd be scientists camped in his house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do think, like you say, there is a place in this paranormal thing for everybody. Like you got the entertainment stuff, like you say, you've got people like fucking Smug Puppy. That's oh, um you've got lots of others over the years. I got banned from Ghost of Britain, their Facebook pages, because I was calling them out and they just blocked me.
He loves
So
me.
I couldn't get on there for love nor money to watch their stuff because I was calling them out. But so you've got the
You know,
likes of
back in the
Smug.
day, sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah,
but
go on.
back in the day, Lee Steer was actually really well respected in the
Yeah,
community. He was
yeah,
actually a debunker, an on-site debunker.
yeah.
My, how he's fallen.
He's a nice guy. He is a nice guy. Um, but his videos, fuck me, their clickbait is unreal. So you got so there is a spectrum, and
Yeah,
like you say, if people put out that it's made for entertainment, this is essentially this is not paranormal. I know a lot of them won't say that, but they'll
no.
say this is made for entertainment purposes only. I think there is a place for all of that, and then you've got the fuzzer. Like we know the guys Mark and Tony at PSI, and they go into it and they try and recreate stuff, debunk stuff. We've been to talks with them, and they've been doing all this stuff, and they go into it fully to try and explain what's happening.
Mm.
And then you've got Smug Puppy. I hate saying that, but
Smug
there is a
Puppy,
place for yeah.
I,
Go on.
I don't see a lot of people that are like Smug Puppy is the worst of the worst, and I'm like, he's
I
not.
like watching them. I like watching them, but
He's no different to Lenny and Ben and Really Haunted. The only difference is his editing is not as good.
no, no,
He's doing the
it
same
is
thing as
very.
them,
Yeah.
but he's only doing the same thing. He's just easier to catch. I had a channel reach out to me the other day. Look, we can't afford all these locations. We're going to get into debunking. I've been watching. I'm not even going to say the name because you'll get shit for it. I've been watching this channel. I can't catch them, and I'm like, I've caught them once or twice, but they've always got an answer for everything. And a small channel like yourself, they'll just crush you under their boot. So don't bother. I said, look, start small and work your way up. I said, watch Smug Puppy. If you want to learn how to fake something, watch Smug Puppy because you can see the mistakes he's making, but then you refine that. You learn how to do it. Like I learned really from Really Haunted. I used to just replicate what he was doing for a laugh. You know, the haunted Alexa. It took me ages to work out how he was doing it, and it was just as simple as Simon Says, and then overlay it. But to get the ring the light up on there and all the rest of it, eventually it was a dead pixel that gave him away what he was doing with that and the SLS. But it took me and another debunker, and we were like, "That's a dead pixel," and it's disappeared and then reappeared. Dead pixels cannot disappear, even if you put white over them. You can still see a dead pixel. But Smug Puppy's no different to them. The only difference is that he is far more rude when he deals with criticism. The way he speaks to people. At one point, he was going to come clean. He told a friend of mine, "I'll speak to you and I'll speak to Beardo and we'll come out and just say it's for entertainment." And I think he would have done better for it instead of arguing and all the rest. Because now he's the laughing stock and a joke of most people. If he had said it's for entertainment, he'd have got away with it. Same as Yasko have. I went at Yasko a couple of times. Yasko emailed me, "What have I got to do to get you off my back?" And I went, "Just be honest." And then he sends me a video link. "This is my new video. Is this good enough?" Text at the beginning. "This is a weekly horror episode. I hope you enjoy. Not everything in this is paranormal. It's a horror show every week." And then I looked at the description, and he's got in the description at the top, not right at the bottom, under all his subscribers and sponsors and all of that. And I'm like, I'm never going to cover Yasko again. The second he drops it, I'll do it again. But it's not good enough for every debunker, and that's fine. That's up to them. It's good enough for me. if somebody says for entertainment purposes only, but it not at the bottom of the description, it's got to be on screen. I'm good with it. I'll leave them alone. There's no point. I can still debunk them. I can still work out what they're doing, but it's a different thing. Like there's a channel called Robbie and Penny. They've got millions of subscribers, and the shit they do in their house. Penny's the dog. It's incredible. Like I'm going to capture a ghost, and he's throwing hula hoops down a corridor while the ghost is leaving footprints and stuff. And I'm like, how has he done that? And then I did a debunking video on it. It's all clearly, it doesn't say for entertainment, but he overacts it and winks at the camera. I can forgive that. I did this video and I'm like, it's either going to be a copyright strike or he'll ignore me. And then he came in the comment section and he was like, you were so close on so many parts of it, but there was no green screen. It's all, and there's not two people, it's me on my own. I was like, right, so I know how you've done it. I'm just a little bit off. And he was like, yeah, feel free to use any of my content, debunk away, and I'll tell you what you got right or wrong. That's fun for me then.
Yeah.
And it's better made. Tim Moore, all of the guys that say for entertainment purposes, they can go further with it. They can do so much more incredible stuff because they're not trying to convince anyone that it's real. Some people still believe it, which blows my mind.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, are there channels that you've watched or videos you've seen? You mentioned like the top five stuff. I watched some of those and I'm like, how the fuck are people even thinking that's a top five video?
Yeah.
And it's interesting you say about the CCTV because people use like ring doorbell footage, not
Yeah.
knowing how like nighttime or night vision on one of those things works. So, somebody walks past clearly, and it becomes like this weird shadow figure.
Yeah, they've got to look at the depth of the field of view, the depth of the view. They've got to look at the lighting. They've got to look at what settings the Ring doorbell is on. Because if you've got it set down to 720p, you'll have ghosts everywhere. We've got ours on 4K, and I've never had one of those anomalies. So I'm utterly convinced a lot of these people are lowering the resolution just to either to save their battery or because they know they'll capture some weird stuff on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got CCTV all outside my house and I've got the Ring doorbell, and we have never ever captured anything that remotely looks like a ghost. So why is everyone else doing it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand how equipment works.
No, not at all.
What kind of equipment? Because I mentioned the Ring doorbell. Obviously, that's not a piece of equipment, but that is something that seems to capture a lot of spirits, for want of a better term. What? So me and Ash have talked about apps over the years, all that kind of thing. There's a lot of people use apps, Spirit Talker, whatnot, Necrometer. I don't have those, but what piece of equipment do you think people use the most that they don't understand how it works? So by not understanding, like the K2, for example, don't understand how it works. So it's already lighting up. They're in this house, but they don't realize they're next to the wall where the washing machine is, for example. And it's every time the washing machine seems to go on, the ghosts appear.
But even at that point, they have already misunderstood that piece of equipment because they've taken no baseline reading.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that baseline reading is no good on specifically the K2 or K2 type devices, because to get a baseline, you've got to spin it 360 on all of its axis. So by the time you've moved 4 meters to do your baseline, it's already changed behind you. And it's something I used for ages, and they are just completely redundant. My wife will argue that with me till the cows come home, because we've got a piano in the conservatory. One night it sounded like somebody played it herself. Or it played itself, and I'm like, heating and cooling. And she was like, explain that. And she holds the K2 out, and she's got a red. And I'm like, all right, in line with a piano key, that could be quite interesting, but there's a plug socket there that's not even screwed into the wall properly. And I'm rationalizing it, and she's like, well, no, you're just looking for a way to debunk it now, aren't you? And
You're
I'm
a fun sponge then, aren't you?
yeah. Yeah, the biggest one that people, it's got to be the spirit box, because people are like, oh, but it scans the radio stations backwards. No, it doesn't. You're just turning the dial. if you turn the dial all the way to one end on an old radio, we'll remember them. You turn the dial all the way to one end, you've gone past all
Ash
those
might not.
stations.
Ash might not.
No,
He's
he
young.
looks a bit young,
He's
doesn't
young.
he? All it's doing is going that way. So you're starting at the right hand side of the band and working left. So nothing is coming through there backwards. You haven't got to disseminate anything. That's why when you hear music, it's the right way. I've heard people, I've seen it in videos. People are like, oh, the spirit said yes. And I'm like, this lady fucking Gaga. Everybody knows it. Oh, and it said the name of this disaster. And I'm like, you're in that area. That person has just died. Of course it's come out of there. People were doing it with Nicola Bully, and I got a lot of shit for what I did there. Because I went at all of them, and I was like, you're absolutely fucking disgusting. Of course your spirit box has said Nicola, because that's all that was over all of the radio stations, not just news stations, every news station, breaking news, the Nicola Bully case. And I went so hard at one of them specifically where, I mean, that's part of the reason I had to buy as much CCTV on my house as I've got, because
Christ.
he really wasn't happy with me. But, people were getting arrested over that. They were interfering with crime scenes because they were just trampling stuff and going in people's houses, or not in the houses, but jumping their back cars, knocking their back doors. Like, can I speak to you about Nicola? What the fuck? You ghost hunters. Yeah. She wasn't even dead as far as we knew at that point.
Yeah, that was a particularly high-profile recent case, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It seemed to attract loads of people for some reason. Like you mentioned, everybody was sort of going down there. But then you do see, I've spoken to Michael Jackson, or videos that I've spoken to Elvis. And I'm just like... But then you say that about the scanning the frequency. We've actually had some weird experiences with those devices in Cannock Chase. And
was the aerial plugged in?
The aerial was plugged in. I'll have to send you the video, see what you think to it. We've got many videos that I could send to you, actually, that it would be interesting to get your take on a lot of the stuff. Because we do try and debunk, me and Ash. We're out in the field, things happen, and we go, how the fuck did that just happen when it was supposed to happen? So we've got like a word bank device.
Yeah.
So I make it, me and my partner, Sarah from the twins. We've coded it, so I know exactly how it works.
Yeah.
Exactly how it works. The only bit I don't know is why that particular word comes through. So I can plug it into my Mac. I can show you with the movement, with the temperature and everything, and it hitting certain limits.
Oh, so yours really has those scanners in it that the rest of them say they do. Not the scanners. No.
Yeah, so ours works on movement, temperature, magnetic change.
Yeah.
And if it's a higher temperature of 0.2 degrees change, because I felt that was a big enough jump to get a trigger, but in an area you're not going to get. You'll get fluctuations, but they tend to be a bit more gradual. Got magnetic ones and the movement, and I can plug it. I plug it into the Mac. I've got the serial monitor for the device, and it has to hit, say, 5 triggers in 8 seconds for it to fire. So I can show you exactly how it works. I can tell you I can show you all the coding. I've spent hours on this coding.
Yeah. But
I can't tell you why that word comes out. And we've had some mad words come out of it. I've got a video in this house where I am now. My dad died when I was young, and I've got his plaque.
Yeah.
And I picked up the device, and his name came through. So his first name, Brian, which nobody knows him as Brian. He was always called Douglas. And then the word Douglas came through.
All right.
I'm like, how the fuck did that work? So it's got 2,500 words.
Yeah.
It's got 500 names from the last 200 years, the top 500 names. I specifically put those words on. I can't explain. I'll send you the video. It's interesting. It's nothing else. And I'm happy to... But we've had weird words come through. We were at Cannock Chase. We've got a book out, me and Ash, about the United States, and we had a series where we went through each state, and we come up and talked about paranormal happenings in each state. And we were in Cannock Chase on a live stream on TikTok, just me and Ash in the middle of Castle Ring, Cannock, and we were talking about the book, and the word book come through on the device. It doesn't listen. I haven't programmed it to listen because I don't know how to.
Fair enough.
I'm fairly stupid, but I had enough nous to do that. And just like weird stuff like that comes through. We were at the Masonic Lodge, the lodge, which you probably heard about, I imagine.
I've heard of it, yeah.
With the tapping on the table.
Yeah.
So I've been there, actually. I have been. We're going back tomorrow night, me and Ash. Ash is going for the first time. I was a complete skeptic, and I was happy to have that conversation with Saz and Gibbsy, which I did. And they knew I was coming up as a skeptic. What I saw that night, I have no explanation for. I cannot explain how it happened.
Can you do me a favour when you go there?
Yeah.
Camera under that table.
I was under the. I've got a video under the table. I was pointing to where the noise was coming from. It's what I experienced that night. It was only a couple of weeks ago. We didn't live stream it. I've got video under the table because they were like, "Get under the table if you want. We've got no problem with that."
Yeah.
I've scoured the table. There's like little panel there. I put my hand in the panel. I can't explain it. Ash, tomorrow, we're there to.
So I'm still like, I didn't want to go because I'm like, this is BS. Yeah.
But that's reason to go though, isn't it? The BS.
I mean, he nearly didn't go.
How much you changed your mind? Yeah, kind of, because you were quite again adamant. No, it can't be. Best like Real Paranormal did the video on it as well and stuff. But how you changed so much, I think.
Honestly,
okay, I trust you.
Mad.
You know what I mean? It's
and that's the thing. Like Emma, to investigate Emma, she came back and she's like, "Oh my god, it's amazing." And I'm like, "It's bullshit. I watched the videos. It's bullshit. The sound. I watched the live stream. It's bullshit." And I called bullshit from the start. And I'm like, "No." And they knew because I know them that I was coming up. I was on their live stream early in the day, and they're like, "Hopefully you'll understand, Greg, when you get here. We know you're skeptical." I had conversations with them about it. I said, "Look, it's too good to be true." I said, "It's genuinely too good to be true. It's happening all the time," like you said, Beardo. But what happened really fucked in my head, and I can't even explain it. And I've seen the videos that Real Evidence did. He put out a video shortly after they've sort of started doing stuff, saying like Gibbsy's legs under the table not moving and whatnot. Yeah. But I don't know. Speaking to the guy as well at the time, we had a really good off-camera conversation about essentially the meaning of life, mortality, all that kind of stuff. We were trying to get them to pull my dad through, which is what I try and do at a lot of places. The twins, they lost their mum last year, so they were trying to get whatever this thing is in the room to see if we could get their mum through. And I honestly, it's fucking nuts. We've got CCTV to put under the tables tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're going to be live streaming it. I've just got a little Osmo Pocket 3 that we're going to be setting up, so we'll capture it in 4K. We're going to be all over the table. We're private hiring it, so me, Ash, and the girls and AD, and it's just us. So it'll be interesting. It's fucking nuts, that place. Are
they going to be there?
Yeah. So we're So it's really difficult to explain until you've been, and I'm.
Yeah. Obviously, for me, the knocking and tapping phenomena it debunked hundreds of years ago, and the way you can make it travel. So. I'm not saying that's what they're doing because I haven't been there and I've not seen definitive proof that it's bollocks. There's enough for me to question it, same as you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, obviously, cameras under the table, cameras on the table. it's a shame you haven't got like a seismo device or something that it basically triggers for vibrations, but I wouldn't put it
Got
on the
one.
table.
You've got that, haven't you, Ash?
Yeah.
I've got
Oh,
like a vibration sensor.
don't put it on the table because obviously there's sound coming from somewhere. You think it's coming from the table. Put it on the table for a time, but then put it on these shoes. Because if they're hammer toeing and because obviously the table legs are in contact with the floor, if they are flicking that toe to cause that snapping or their ankle or something, then you should be able. I mean, if it was me, I'd probably be under the table with a friend and be like, right, I'll hold his feet, you hold his feet, right, now knock. And then if it knocks and it still comes from the table and I can't see anything knocking, at that point, I'm going to have to say, right, there's something weird that I can't explain. It doesn't, for me, make it paranormal, but it makes it fucking weird.
Yeah, and we
Because
came out there saying it wasn't paranormal. We don't think it's paranormal. It's just fucking weird. That was our thing. I wasn't scared. I don't get scared, to be fair. We walked around Delamere Forest in the middle of the night, and we're not.
well, you went to
It is what it
Cannock
is.
with all the doggers, so you survived that.
I'll tell you what.
The last time you went on it, oh god, the doggers.
Fucking hell. We rocked up to this car park, and there's a load of vans there. And we got out, and we're like, there was like this couple came from behind the van. I was like, fucking hell. So we walked off. We were on a live stream at this moment. We walked off. We thought, well, the cars are probably going to be safe because they're just going to be fucking each other and
Yeah.
watching and whatnot. Anyway, but the signal got really crap, so we had to go back, and we ended up in this little bit of wooded area right near the car park, and they were playing like dance music all night. It
Yeah.
was the weirdest.
It must have
thing.
been about 20 cars coming and going. This was like middle of the night. It's like, what is? I knew it's popular for it, but this is actually insane.
I know that was mad. That was mad. But I don't know where we're going now. But yeah, so it's super weird place, and we got down. So the word this is the weird thing. This is the weird thing. So I put the word lodge in there
Yeah.
in this little device. Just see if it come up. Obviously, from an entertainment point of view, that's quite good if
Yeah.
you got words associated with which I can do. I don't because we've just got that word bank set of words, and it come up with the word Daisy, and the guy there, Ollie, the head mason, he was like to the others, look at that. And Daisy is the name of one of the spirits that is or one of whatever it is
Yeah.
that we're speaking to. It come up on I just had it on the table, just had it there, just firing out words. And when nothing's happening and there's no movement, it goes into like an ambient mode, and it will just
Yeah.
fire out a word every. I think I've programmed it for every 30 to 90 seconds, just so people just don't have nothing happen on it. But it still triggers in the same way. It just pulls out a random word. And it come up with Daisy, and then the next word was lodge.
Uh-huh.
So it's just weird shit like that,
Yeah.
coupled with all these knocking that I couldn't even explain. I went in there firm bullshit caller, and I was happy to call them out because I had my concerns. But I flipped within 10 minutes of being there. I was like, fucking hell, this is mad. So Ash, you need to do it tomorrow. We'll sort. So by the time this goes out next week, we'll have already been. So we'll have
Yeah.
to do a follow up just to let everybody know.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean,
I don't know how to explain it. That's the thing. It's one of them places that I was adamant I could go in there and figure out what's going on.
yeah.
Couldn't.
So when you do get, like, say you're watching a video for the first time or YouTube, what are kind of the things you're looking for? Kind of straight away, kind of point. So these red flags. Let's see what you kind of get. Is there anything certain looking for, or you just kind of anything and everything?
I suppose I autopilot to a degree now. It's a certain channel name. I'm just autopilot. I know what I'm looking for. And those videos, they don't excite me as much. But I've got to make them because, it's my living. I hate making twin paranormal videos and Sam and Colby videos. It's the same shit, but I've got to make them. But then there'll be the odd video come through, and it's like, oh, can you like today? I got a video, and he was like, oh, do you think he's faked this? And I'm watching a really well-known UK paranormal investigator smack a door with his elbow, and then run off going, "Wasn't me, it wasn't me." And I'm like, really? You called us a bully a week ago for saying, like 2 months ago, for calling you fake. And that's boring. That's easy. I know they use fishing wire under a door so you don't get a glint and a drawing pin in the shoe because one of them told me about it when we were almost getting along. And I'm like, the second I catch you, I'm outing you for it. So they all stopped doing it. It's a double-edged sword because they stop doing the things that we catch them doing. Really Haunted, when I leave him alone, he stops doing. I'll debunk him, and then he'll stop doing that thing for ages. And once it's been a couple of months, he'll be like, "Oh, Beardo's fucked off. Let's introduce poltergeist activity again." And then I'll catch him again, and then he'll stop. But I don't go into videos for channels that I've never heard of. I don't go into them with the express intention of catching them. If they say I've captured poltergeist activity, a shadow figure or something, I'm looking to see if that is poltergeist activity or a shadow figure or whatever the claim is. I want to look at the claim and see if there's any truth in it, or if I can. A lot of the time, I'm not looking for fakery. I'm looking for logic, common sense, and hoping there's something left over that where I'm like, I don't know. That's the exciting bit for me. It's just so rare for me to be like, I haven't got a clue. But artifacting and things like that, editing tricks, because the one thing that I have really, apart from the live streaming and growing an audience and a community and all of that, the thing I've enjoyed more than anything is learning to edit, because I didn't know how to edit. Just I cut, I move on, I cut, I move on, and then I do all these. Nobody notices it, but like things like my camera sliding across the monitor from a full screen and then going. I didn't do that in OBS, even though I could. It was like, I wonder how I track that and I make it look a bit cooler, put a drop shot. Nobody ever notices it. Sometimes somebody will go, "Oh, I like what you did there. That's cool." But it's the editing process, learning to edit, and then watching people like Smug Puppy, Really Haunted. I'm like, how have they done that? Learning how to do it, and then making my own version of it, but really funny, like the annual Help My House Is Not Haunted and all of that sort of stuff, where I can flex a bit of editing stuff, but it's always tongue in cheek and a bit of a laugh. I've toyed with the idea of doing a legitimate investigation and then a rug pull just to show how easy it is, because it's so much easier. I mean, you'll know this, you go out and investigate. It's so much easier to go out and fake everything. So you go out for 2 hours, you fake everything, you've got a banger of a video that's only going to be an hour long, and everything's ready to, you know where your markers are, you know where your editing points are. You go out and you have nothing all night, and you've still got to put out a video where you know nothing is happening. You've got to troll through 6 to 8 hours of footage. It's fucking soul destroying.
Yeah.
But there's a fun element to that. It was like, oh, how do I make the video flow better? So you put the B rolls in, the transitions to the B rolls. That stuff's really fun to me. But yeah, I look for editing stuff. The days of people pulling wires and stuff, they are slowly disappearing, and I think the next one is going to be AI. I've seen my first AI ghost clip, and I was like, holy shit, that's good. The way the ghost cast a shadow, there was no like 6 or 7 fingers, and I was like, it literally looks like an old woman peeks out of a door, casts a shadow, and then peeks back in, and I was like, it's too good to be true. There is no way. But there's something that's really good at detecting AI, is AI. Because as a debunker, I can't see individual pixels. I look for artifacting. Like even now, our cameras are artifacting. You can see little dark patches pulsing, and like your jumper's doing it when you nod your head and stuff. That's natural artifacting on the camera because of the light or whatever. AI can scan that and can tell what artifacting is natural to the camera, natural to the light, and what has been manipulated and how it's been manipulated. I downloaded a 30-second clip from Smug Puppy. I knew exactly how they did it. I dropped it into AI, and AI basically said, this is how we did it. And it was shot for shot what I said it was. The only thing AI couldn't get right was how they fucked up the shadows so bad. It was like AI didn't even realize how stupid they were with it. Like that shadow shouldn't be there. It's like, yeah, but how did they do it? It shouldn't be there. But AI is good for detecting AI so far. So there's a thing on my editing software specifically called a scene detector. So I drop something peeks from behind the door. I did it to two guys up north. They were, oh yeah, this is really real. They were stupid enough to send me their own footage, knowing it was fake. I watched it, sent it back to them, and I was like, "You've poked out a 2D image of the Grudge bitch, so what? No, we didn't. Sure, you did, and there were 8 cuts for you to do it. Oh, you're lying. I was like, well, I'm not, because an AI scene detector has picked up on the 8 cuts that I couldn't see, but it's because just before it pops out, before you turn back, they make sense after AI has told me where it is. I said, more to the point, your photo was on the mantelpiece. You weren't in somebody else's house, or they just really like you and your wife.
Isn't it funny that some of these top 5 videos, top 10 videos, whatever, um, the the girl from um The Ring or The Grudge, how often that appears as an entity in the back of a video. So what the fuck? How's that?
Not
How's
only
that?
that, but how is it appearing in the UK? People going ghost hunting in UK forests and woodlands and stuff, being like hunting a skinwalker. It was like, that's Staffordshire. You've got to go to the Navajo. You're on the wrong continent, you lunatic. Oh, we're going after this cryptid or this ghost. It's like you're in the wrong region, the wrong part of the world. What are you? If you're going to bullshit, at least do a little bit of research so it's not immediately obvious to everyone with a brain cell.
So you mentioned 30 East Drive as a venue or locate not venue location where you've had experience and that care home. You
Yeah,
went to Priest Cottage. We went to Priest Cottage where a couple of weeks after it opened, like became like a public thing. So we went there and private hired it, just me and Ash, and there's a weird vibe in there when we went. We went back with the twins,
yeah.
and instead of live streaming straight away, because that's what we tend to do, we done a kind of seance. We had crystals out, we had candles, and we were talking, and we captured a laugh on camera. We
All
all
right.
heard it. We
Yeah.
got it on camera. The guys, Rihanna and FX Paranormal, got it on their cameras, and it was freaky to say the least. And the weird things happened throughout the night, but that was like the weirdest thing. When you were at Priest Cottage, I saw your video and you were laying down on one of the morgue slab
On the slab and my back went.
tables. Yeah. And then you were on one of the tables going, I could sleep here all night.
Mm.
How did you find Priest Cottage?
Um, I don't want to slate the place
No.
because I think the people running it are amazing people, what they're doing for
Mhm.
charity and all of that. It was
Yeah.
really flat when I
Mm.
went. But it doesn't mean that it's not haunted. It's just my
Yeah.
experience on that one night. Initially, I found myself a bit on edge, which I don't get. It was a
Mm.
bit like, oh, I don't know. There's something about it, but it wasn't the basement. It was the living room. I just didn't like
Yeah.
the living room for a little bit of time. But then you acclimatize and stuff. But they've reached out to me. They want me to go back with Mike from Real Evidence and do a charity live stream with them. But basically, they told me I can go back whenever I want.
Mm.
And it's a bit far for me. It was fucking took me 6 hours to get there last time because of traffic and stuff.
You're in Wales. Are you in Wales?
Yes, I'm right. I'm South Wales. I'm borderline
Okay.
on the coast. So,
Okay.
but it was the traffic. It was snowing on our way up as well, and we like, oh shit! It took me an hour to get to Bristol, and then from Bristol all the way up there.
Yeah.
It was a horrendous drive up. Coming back was absolutely fine, but yeah, they're lovely people. It's one of those places where people I trust have had experiences there, so it's not going to be a one and done for me. Like, I
Mm.
mean, even the ancient Ram Inn that I can't stand. I've been there twice because I've got to try. But the flattest place I've ever been was the Ram Inn. I've
The
never.
scariest place I've been is Ramin.
Is it?
It's the one place where I have literally shit myself. I used to be part of a team down in Oxfordshire. I'm in Whitney in Oxfordshire, and we had a little group, and obviously COVID fucked everything up for everybody. But before that, we went to the Ram Inn. We private hired it for the night. There were 6 of us. We got there. One person said, "I've just seen a book move in the window up there." Could have been anything, to be fair. I got in there. We walked round, and me and this guy were in the garage area, that sort of like garagey bit, and we heard something behind us, like a stone or something, like a weird tapping. We both looked at each other and was like, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "Yeah." So we went back to the group, but as we get into the bar area, we both heard a growl, and from that moment on, I was on edge all night. I wouldn't even go to the loo by myself. I was like, somebody needs to stand outside the door. It was horrendous. But I've been before, and it was okay. Stuff happened, but it was okay. But that night
I've
was the
never
scariest.
I've never even had to debunk anything there because
Mm,
literally nothing. The building was just
mm,
completely silent both times I went. And it was like the first time I went with staffies who, James is a believer, Rian is not.
mm.
So I was like, that's a better mix for me. The second time I went, with 4 debunkers. And people are like, oh, well, it's not going to happen when you're there because you're all 4 debunkers. I'm like, it's not how the paranormal works, surely. Because how many people will tell you, I didn't believe in ghosts until, or I don't believe in ghosts, but those stories are the incredible ones. But that's the only, I'm not psychic. I don't get vibes and all that sort of stuff. But 30 Strivers made me have a bit of
Mm.
I don't know about that. It's done it to me twice. Um, the Priest Cottage a little bit when I first walked in. Ancient Ramen, I was just like, there it is. Fuck all you. And apart from you, everybody else I've spoken to that's been there have all said the same thing.
Mm.
Nobody, hardly anyone has anything there, which,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean there's not anything there, but
Mm.
it seems to be one of those places that's far more missed than any of the others for most people.
No, I agree. I agree. So, um, is there any place or any location that you'd really like to go to? So it doesn't have to be UK, anywhere that you think that will be the location there where if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen.
The big one for me would be Alcatraz. And I'm kind of cheating because there's 2 reasons for it. I'd like to go. I'd like to take all of the teams that I trust, enjoy, and have worked with and would work with.
Mm.
All go. They just do this massive investigation for like a week. Alcatraz to ourselves because it's fucking massive. But then the last day, give everyone paintball guns and be like, let's play Call of Duty in real time.
Yeah.
I know the map inside out from Call of Duty. But at the same point, it's like, that was one of the most horrendous prisons.
Mm.
And it's, there's rumored hauntings and a lot of the buildings there. And it's just one of those things to have to get a helicopter out. That would be amazing. To have Alcatraz Island, it's probably the most famous prison in the world for most people.
Yeah.
And then the little Call of Duty aspect of it. And I'm like, can you imagine a bunch of 45-year-old men running, thinking they can play Call of Duty, and then you're like,
hip goes.
I can't. Yeah, Alcatraz would be the ultimate for me. But if depending on who owns it, I'd like to do the Conjuring House.
Yeah.
If Jason gets the Conjuring House, and if the scientific element starts up where he allows the Centre for Inquiry to put something there so they can measure the ground and all of that, I would love to get involved in that. Jason's promised me I can get involved in that.
Awesome.
That's high up on the list as well. But if that clown and the comedian take it,
Matt Rife, isn't it? Is it Matt Rife?
Matt Rife and Elton Casties, I'll have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. There's a great documentary on Amazon Prime about the Conjuring House that this small team went to do proper investigation now. I can't remember what it is for the life of me. Not watched it.
It's
Recent.
Entity
It's
7, Entity 7, Joe Vitale and Matt. I can't remember his name.
I don't know. They use some light thing in the forest and some device that measures lower light frequencies, and I can't remember what it's called.
Hell on Earth? No, that was the song. I know you're on about it. It's Joe Vitale's. He got a YouTube channel called Entity 7. but he works with a guy called Matt something. Me and him don't get along so well.
Okay.
But the documentary was
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I enjoyed that.
But he's got the weird helmet on and like the anyone that wears a stab vest or a helmet investigating, I'm like, what are you doing? Nobody's ever been stabbed by a ghost. Stop it.
No, but he's well prepared just in case. What so before we sort of wrap up the conversation, is there any piece of footage or any channel that you've been sent, say, multiple times where people have gone, this must be bullshit, that you've watched and you're like, I can't see either how they've done it or it is actually what they say it is. Is there, do you get those?
Yeah. There's a fair, I can't always tell exactly how things are done, but
No.
you get an idea and you're like, oh, that's clearly bullshit. One of my favorite ones I was sent was people I made friends with after. Loads of people sent me the same clip. Adelaide Haunted Horizons, they faked the doll coming down the stairs at 30 East Drive. And I was like, right, send it to me. So I looked at the clip and I was like, it looks sus. Hang on, how old is this woman? No disrespect to Alison, but she's not in her younger years. And I'm like, but this wasn't a pre-recorded video. This was a live stream it was taken from. So if she had set up wires, there is no way could she have avoided them because I've tried. I try all of the fake stuff to see how they've done it. I can't call it fake if I can't do it. I was like, there's no way she's done that. As it is, I think it's probably just the doll is top heavy and gravity's done his thing. Those stairs, things come down them all the time. But back then, 30 Drive the stairs were fucking creepy to me. And I got excited when the pram came down when I was there. And I still, other debunkers will tell me it's vibration, it's micro movement. And I'm like, I don't know. It seemed to go up a little bit for me, like it was slapped. It is what it is. I'm not telling people it's paranormal, but I'm certainly not going to write it off as the carpet sprung because that carpet is fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, loads of people. She's faked this. She's faked this. She's faked it. I'm like, you're looking at a clip. You're not looking at the entire video, which is something people don't realize I do. I don't just look at the clip. I look at the entire video to get a feel for them. And I'm like, this is a woman in her 60s on her own in 30 East Drive with a video camera in one hand for a recorded video and a phone in the other hand for a live stream, and she's pulled a string. How? Oh, she's got a friend there. Alice, Cag is with her. It's like Cag's in Australia. So I look at it and I look at it, and I'm like, I can't tell you it's a ghost, but I can tell you with certainty she did not fake it. There is no evidence at all for me to suggest that she has faked that in any way. And then when I've spoken to them loads, and then I met up with them, worked with them, and I'm like, she is the clumsiest woman I have ever met in my life. She just falls over everything. And I was like, there's no way, absolutely no way did she rig up wires and avoid them all on a live stream without breaking her own neck. She's far too clumsy. And the other one is, again, 30 East Drive, was Griff with the chest push. I've seen people say it's just the quilt moving and artifacting, which I don't believe it is. To me, the bed almost bows a little under him. It freaked me out. I went, obviously, they went months before I went for I think it was my third time. But the video came out the week before I went, and I was in that house and I was calling Fred everything you can. I'm like, I want to get a violent reaction, so let's proper go for it. I had to cut most of my video. I went that hard at it, calling him everything you could think of that would really anger a man. I went that far with it. I sat on the sofa about 3 o'clock in the morning. The couple I was there with, they were like, oh, we only live like 8 miles away, so we're off. And I went, all right, cool, no worries. What? I've just been shit talking Fred for 9 hours. What do you mean you're going? And it wasn't quite that. That's more of a comedic take on it. But they left and they were like, just post the keys for Carol's letterbox. I was all right. I sat there for an hour. I heard a little bang upstairs, which was probably Carol or Carol farting or something. And I went, I can't stay. And I walked out of there. I posted the keys for the letterbox. I got in my car. I mean, it's 4.5, 5 hour drive for me with, no traffic. And I'm driving home. I got the Birmingham sort of area. I was like, oh, Steve will be awake now. When I rang him, he said, something happened. And I went, no. So, is that your car I can hear? So yeah, he sort of just set off of you. I was like, no, I'm halfway home. He She said, what happened? I said, I've been calling out all night. I'm sat on this sofa, and then I just had this image of the chest push with Griff, and it freaked me the fuck out. And I was like, I can't stay. And I was kicking myself all the way home. Like, why did you leave when you're scared? If you're scared, something may happen. And I left like a right coward. I was like, I shouldn't, I regret it. But at the same point, it's the power of that video. It freaked me the fuck. It scared Griff. That's the bit other people don't realize is we all talk behind the scenes. And for Griff to be that worried about it, not that it was a ghost, that he's a large man and it may have been a heart issue. So he went to the doctor. Griff is every bit as bolsterous as you see on camera. That's how he is in real life. Goes to the doctor, throws his phone on the table, and goes, "What the fuck is that?" Because he was concerned that it was something to do with his heart, angina, or his lungs because he's got sleep apnea. He was genuinely concerned from a health concern. The doctor went, "I don't know," and that has stuck with me. That potentially something could have put this weight on him in a bedroom in there, and that's the bedroom I always sleep in because it's the scary one. Yeah, I couldn't debunk it. Other people have said it could be this. Nobody's definitively said that's exactly what it is. Lots of ideas. None of them are wrong. Well, maybe they're all wrong, but that's the whole point of it. But yeah, that freaked me out, and that's the one where I'm like, didn't like that whatsoever.
Weird. I think we need to go back to 30 East Drive again.
I would.
Definitely would. So, thank you so much for tonight. So, for people who don't know your channel, there can't be that many that don't know you, especially in the paranormal community in the UK. Most people know who you are, but we have like 60% of our listeners are in America, so there might be some that don't know where to find you. So, where can people find you? What platforms? We'll put it all in the show notes as well. But
yeah. Right, so it's Beardo Gets Scared on YouTube. I've also got a second channel, but it's nothing to do with the paranormal. It's just all my geeky stuff and fun stuff, and it's a more light-hearted version of me. That's called Beardo's Man Cave. I'm on Facebook as Beardo Gets Scared, where I let rip a bit more than my YouTube, just with funny memes and stuff. I've just gone to Rumble as well with Beardo Gets the Truth. But I'm just re-uploading stuff there because I'm worried about the future of YouTube with the way it's going with the monetizing and everyone's views decreasing by 50% in 4 months.
Well,
it seems silly to put all my eggs in one basket. But yeah, Beardo Gets Scared pretty much everywhere. But Rumble, Beardo Gets the Truth. One thing I would like to put out there, though, is that whilst I am a debunker, I am a paranormal investigator at heart. I only want to remove the false from a claim. I want the truth, and if I've got to tear people apart to get to it, I'll do it. But I believe in the paranormal. I want the paranormal to be real, and I want to prove it for me. So yeah, it's not about that's fake. Everything's fake. That's not what I do.
Yeah. Okay, that's beforehand. Me and Ash were saying that I think we're going to have a good conversation with you because you're a debunker, but you're also a paranormal investigator, and like you said, you're here to remove the bullshit and call out the fake and try and prove the power. And that's what we're all in it for. We're trying to find that holy grail for ourselves. We've spoken to a lot of people who have had paranormal experiences, and sometimes you mentioned it as well. It's not, people don't really get it until it happens to them, and then they go, oh. People have a paranormal experience and it can be completely personal to them. Like you seeing that spirit when you're younger, that's the kind of stuff that will stay with you.
Yeah, it's life-changing. It's life-changing for people. My mum was a staunch skeptic all of her life. And 2 years ago, she came into the living room. I will never, ever tell her story because it's hers. And, and she told me what happened and said, I need you to debunk that. And I went, I can't. Why? I said, number one, I wasn't there. Number two, I'm a video analyst, if anything. Number three, I don't want to take that from you, even if I could, because you needed that. So believe it. By all means, believe it. And my mum believes she saw a ghost, a full-bodied apparition that meant something to her. And I'm like, I'll never take that. I don't take that from anyone. I don't debunk people's personal experiences. If somebody comes to me and says I'm scared, I'll get them the help they need. There was a guy in America, a well-known, a very famous paranormal channel, went to his house, scared the shit out of him, convinced him he had a demon. Obviously, I can't go there and help him. I'm not mentally health trained. I'll never do a private residence. I'll never do it because I've got to understand the impact of saying it is or isn't haunted on somebody's mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So I put him in touch with somebody that does understand that, that went to his home, convinced him that it, in fact, wasn't haunted. It was all to do with infrasound because of railway lines. And we potentially saved that guy's life because he was at his wit's end. It cost him his marriage. His marriage is back on track. And the other one was a guy in the UK. I'm getting all these experiences, and I'm like, have you ever had your boiler checked? No. That's the first thing I tell everyone. Get a carbon monoxide detector. The reason his pets wouldn't go in this bedroom and the reason his daughter was having sleepless nights was carbon monoxide. And
Wow.
he's like, you saved my daughter's life. Like, no, I just gave you advice. You saved your daughter's life by asking and not just assuming it's a ghost.
Wow.
Yeah. That's really cool that you did that and give him that advice, to be fair. And it's a shame that that the people believe or want to believe so much that they thought it was a spirit rather than anything else. And I think that's one good thing about being a debunker or being a paranormal investigator, that something will happen and I know we're like, oh, how did that happen? Can we replicate that again? Because if we can replicate it, chances are, especially in the moment, chances are it's normal. If we can't replicate it, then first of all, okay, something has happened, whatever it is has happened, and then we'll have a look and we'll, like at the lodge, I was under the table.
Yeah.
I was touching the table. I've got videos of when the sounds was going off. I've got videos of me pointing on the table as where it is.
Yeah.
We're changing seats, all that kind of stuff to try and not necessarily disprove, but to prove that what was happening was paranormal as well. I think
by disproving the normal, you can reveal the abnormal. So you look at everything, absolutely everything. You've got to take into account every variable, every variation. And I don't believe you can do it in one visit, which is why I'll never say somewhere is or isn't haunted.
Yeah.
I believe there's a few places I've been to where there is something going on. I just don't know what that something is.
Yeah.
I'd love to know. I mean, I'd love to get under that table and have seismos on everyone's shoes and stuff. I reckon they'd probably let me and all because they seem quite open to it.
Oh, 100% they were. Then that's the other bit. They're absolutely happy for you to do whatever. We got a microphone. We got some small microphones that we've just ordered. So we're going to put them on the table to see if we can sort of triangulate sound, or we got cameras going to be put.
How many have you got? How many microphones have you got?
Between us, we'll have maybe 4 or 5.
I got a few as well.
Yeah. So then we can start to, if we position them around the room, we can obviously try and understand from the loudness of each one when it happens as to
one
roughly...
pointing at the shoes.
Yeah, and
not just to catch them out, but to discount it. If you get a knock and it's not coming from these shoes, we can write that off, move on to the 100%. Next. Yeah.
And they're open for that. That's the mad thing, is that they'll come and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I got time for people like that.
Which is great. And I know, Ash, I was complete skeptic, but once you've been there, Ash, we'll see. We'll see next
time tomorrow.
I'll send you an email, Beardo, saying
I
want converted.
I want to hear either he's converted or bollocks.
We've called it. But really appreciate your time tonight. It's been great to get to know the person other than the mass debunker that we see on the YouTube channel. So I do appreciate you taking the time to come and speak to us.
It's been good. It's been good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, you'll have to come back on again. We like to have people on for like a second interview, because then we've done all the intro bit and we can get into more conversational about the paranormal and like the extra dimensional stuff. We're
Yeah.
massively into that as proponents of stuff. Time slips, time. Um, you'll see tomorrow, Ash, when we talk about time. It's wild. There, we got down to believe that we were speaking to somebody from 1936.
Right.
Don't ask me how we got there, but you'll see tomorrow how we got there. That they were actually communicating with us and thought we were the dead ones and they were alive, and they were using a Ouija board to communicate with us.
See, that's one of those mad ones, isn't it?
It's fucked up.
I've
Honestly,
had those conversations with people. Do you think that we are the ghosts?
yeah, and they were coming out saying they were alive and that we were dead, and it's just
Yeah,
like, so we changed our questions as though we were the ghosts asking questions. It was
yeah.
fucked. Honestly, that's blew my fucking mind. I'm not gonna lie.
I wonder how many times, if it's something to do with time, where you go, can you copy me? And you go, and then somebody's in the living room like, it's
Well,
done
that's
it
it.
again.
Fuck, we need to get a paranormal team in. But yeah, no, really do appreciate your time. It's been great. I wish you all continued success on your channel because I've watched it grow over the years, and it's great to see the paranormal getting recognition because it is still fairly niche. People don't like to talk about it, although it's more mainstream now. People still a bit. It's one of them topics that scares a lot of people. So, yeah, good work, and hopefully we'll speak soon.
Yeah, we'll do. Thanks for having me on. It was
Cheers,
fun,
Thank
man.
you.
Cheers, Ash.